It's January 8th, and today is a special day. Do you know why? It's because it's this guy's birthday. Today would have been Elvis's birthday. I am a big Elvis fan. I'm also a fan of Lilo and Stitch. In particular, I'm a fan of Stitches. And my favorite scene in the movie is when he's Elvis. So I collect Elvis-Stitch. I'm a big fan of Elvis-Stitch. I've got my Elvis-Stitch pin on because, again, it's Elvis's birthday. So what better day than to tell you a little bit more about my January junk journal, which is themed with Elvis-Stitch. I made a video describing my process several days ago that got eaten up by the internet fairies. So this won't be particularly long, but I do want to still share my thought process, my approach, how I do this, in case you find it helpful. Step one in making my journal starts with a blank composition notebook. I follow tutorials that have been put out by Leah Green of Thrifty Day for making a junk journal that does not involve any sewing, and a composition book is at the heart of that. So I have a blank composition notebook. I tend to like the ones that have 100 sheets because I find they make a good size for me for each month that I use the junk journal. Once I have my composition notebook, I then need to put a cover that is representative of my theme. So I had this photocopy made of an artwork I own of Elvis-Stitch. It was done by Jonathan Hallett. He used to draw for Disney, and he's drawn several different Stitches and different costumes and outfits. So I printed this out at FedEx for the front, and then on the back, I printed out a movie poster for Blue Hawaii. This was an extra piece of cardstock that I have. So I took something like this that got printed and applied it with glue to the back of the composition notebook. So very appropriate. Blue Hawaii, Stitch is blue, the movie is themed in Hawaii, and so I get to have Stitch and I get to have Elvis for my Elvis-Stitch theme. For this junk journal, I did cover the painting or the photo with a laminate sheet, the plastic sheet cover. So I ordered these off of Amazon, and I did apply the cover to both the front and the back to better protect the artwork that's on here and better protect the junk journal. Then I prep the pages of the junk journal. I do glue every 2 pages together following Leah's tutorial because it helps make the journal more sturdy. Then I line the pages with washi tape, and I particularly wanted washi tape to match the theme. So I ordered this Cosmic Galaxy washi tape, and then as you can see in my junk journal, I've lined the pages. Since Stitch came from outer space, I am definitely including elements of galaxy and space and cosmos in the junk journal. So I just think this is perfect for this. Next, in my process of working in my junk journal, I do not like to cover a blank white page. So what I'll do is I put down backgrounds before I start really applying my junk most of the time, unless I'm using the junk as the background. So I need stuff to use for backgrounds. Let me show you what I've got. I've got Elvis stuff. I have this large format book about Elvis that I got very cheaply at a local used bookstore. I'll be pulling stuff from that. I have this children's book called Shake Rag, which is about his life and his influence from Black church music and gospel. And so I'll be pulling pages from that. I've got a little magazine, a desk calendar that my husband got for me for 2026, and every page has a picture, so I'll be pulling from this. Who cares if I get to that day in the year 2026 and that page is missing? It's going to be in my junk journal. I have this little golden book about Elvis Presley. I am definitely going to be taking pages from this. I love illustrations. I have a coloring book that is used, so it is not my coloring book, or I haven't really colored in this. So some of the pages have a little bit of coloring in them. And, you know, this book used to belong to somebody. You better believe I'm going to use these pages, colored or not. And I have a deck of Elvis trading cards. So all of this is going to be content for me to use as backgrounds and elements in my junk journal. And I have far more Stitch stuff than I have Elvis stuff. I've got these postcards that are of the galaxy that will be incorporated. I've got Lilo and Stitch books, Stitch note tabs. I have this little notepad that has these cool, illustrations of Stitch in different ways. So some of that would be used. I've got stationery paper. I've got stickers galore for Stitch, playing cards, more books. This is like a Where Stitch book. So all these different scenes, and you have to find Stitch. I've got these Stitch posters that I got from Five Below. They're kind of fun. An art pad, this grab and play that came from Dollar Tree. I haven't even opened this, but somehow I'm going to incorporate some of that into my junk journal this month. I've got notebook or yeah, notebooks that my husband has got me over the years with Stitch. So I'll be pulling from that. I've got blue and yellow ribbon that I think works well. And just look at how much stuff I've got to draw from. This is cool. And then I will also need a junk journal bookmark charm. So for that, I have this Stitch lanyard that I picked up at Five Below. It's a short lanyard and it's got a little thing of Stitch. And I have added this little plastic holder with one of the trading cards from Elvis on the front. And then on the back, I glued on a scene from the graphic novel of the Lilo and Stitch movie that I have. The book was one of the items on the when I showed you all my Stitch stuff, and I specifically cut out the cell that shows the scene where Stitch is dressed up like Elvis. So here's my Elvis Stitch. This will be the backbone of my junk journal charm, but I'm also going to add more to it. I have a Stitch figurine that I want to figure out this month how to turn it into something I can add to my bookmark charm. I've got some beads these are necklaces that I picked up at a thrift store recently. I'm going to deconstruct them for the beads. I've got white pony beads. I've got some more fancy decorative beads, and I got a whole pack of blue pony beads that I got at the thrift store as well. So I want to take all of this and enhance my charm so that I can really have something really nice to represent Stitch. It would be cool if I found me an Elvis figurine to add to the charm as well. So I may have to shop around a bit for that, but this is going to all contribute to my junk journal charm. So I invite you to like and follow to keep up with me on my journey and doing my junk journal this month. Now, have I started doing any pages in this yet? No, I was specifically waiting for today, Elvis's birthday. So the first pages are going to be laid down tonight as I start to build out my January junk journal. I already have my junk ready for the past several days, and so we'll see how many I get done. I'll share a video once I get the first few in. Happy crafting!